Excellent shot.
You filming?
No, that's just dumb.
Yes.
There's no red light.
This broke.
No, I was supposed to say. No, I didn't see that.
Oh,
I didn't know we were rolling.
It's okay. We can.
well, this was my favorite one. Like this?
You're right on video.
This was mine.
Hey, I didn't see you.
Pass the Latina on the handle.
Oh, hey. Didn't see you.
guarantee I brought it.
No, maybe you did.
Howdy, partner.
How you doing?
Doing alright.
My name's Carter.
It was just like a little.
Hi, Carter.
It was like a
This is
little
my pool table here.
No, I brought that.
Roach free.
So,
Roach free for 9 years.
why do you play pool?
Well, it's a meditative process.
Yeah, just kind of releases stress.
Yeah.
Kind of a soul.
Forget about all the mistakes I've made in the past.
Goodbye.
So I just come here sometimes.
Now, let me ask you this, Carter. Do you get frustrated when you keep missing?
You know, I keep it like, just together. Like,
Oh, so,
I just know that if I keep trying one
so
day.
when you hit bad shots, that's when you release the stress?
Exactly. It's all about one day it'll work.
So you're probably feeling so relaxed right now.
Yeah. The worse I do, the better it gets, actually.
Alright.
I want to hit that, like, red hat.
Hey, Connor, you want to? Yeah. We do it right now? Sure. Well, let's do the opening scene first, and then we'll figure out the rest.
Alright. So you have to make sure you get Foz coming out of the bathroom.
Foz in the bathroom?
He is.
Yeah.
Actually, can we just take the camera in there?
Or just like film the door and just like ask him questions through the door.
That's good idea too.
That's funny.
You guys are always standing around the door.
I have a second.
Like, hey, can we ask you a few questions?
You need to wear this hat.
On my head?
Or here.
This is an awesome chair.
Barrel chair.
Yeah.
I think it must have been on some kind of stool.
Yeah.
Or like this little.
Yeah,
I like it.
Especially a very unique arrangement.
It's usually not arranged like this with a little like space there. Everything faces
Cool,
that
but
way.
tight at the same
It's like
time.
getting hugged.
It's like cool, but tight at the same time. It feels like if you're sitting on the ground like this. But you can go like this at the same time.
It's the perfect chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to improvise with this camera. You can ask questions.
Oh, okay. Can I hold it?
Yep, just click the red button and
Sorry,
start
we're
recording.
okay. I'm gonna go ask Foz some questions.
Where's Bob?
Okay, I'll go by myself.
I'll go.
Okay.
Alright, hey Foz, can we ask you a few questions?
How's your shit going?
When did you know you wanted to be a musician?
When did you know you wanted to do this shit?
That went well.
That was exactly as expected. Seemed like you could hear us through that door.
Hey, how about that?
The perfect college instrument.
Pool table?
Was it just a plastic?
Well, hey, don't hit that yet.
Wait, hang on.
Aren't you trying to do the...
Maybe I could like put it on like key ring.
Oh,
Excellent
wow, this
shot.
is an awesome couch.
Are
You filming?
No, that's just thumbs up.
Yes.
There's no red
I like
light.
this broke off too.
No, I was supposed to say... Oh, I didn't say...
I didn't know we were rolling.
It's okay, we can.
Yeah. Well, this was my favorite one. What's this?
That's on video.
Yes.
This was mine.
Oh, hey.
Dude, how's the Latina one?
You're a horrible actor, Carter.
How's the Latina on the handle?
Oh, hey. Didn't
Because I'll
see you.
guarantee I brought it.
No, maybe you did. Howdy, partner.
How you doing?
Howdy, partner.
My name's Carter.
There was just like a little.
Hi, Carter.
It was like a little table like this.
Table here.
No, I brought that.
I put the table
Roach
here.
free.
What happened to mine? I had one
Yeah,
Yo,
roach free for
so,
Roach free for 9
yo,
years.
Ryan, you guys want to you want to start a talk show called Silly Time with Ryan and the Casual Ties?
Yeah.
Silly Time with Ryan and the Casual Ties. Oh, did I? Was I really drunk? Was that the night I was really drunk at your house?
Goodbye.
I just come here so
You were like, you're in fuck up mode tonight.
Let me ask you this.
Remember that? You get frustrated? Yeah, it was funny. It's like, I was totally
I keep it like.
I was just like teetering on the line.
I just know that if I keep trying one day.
So when you hit bad shots, that's when you release the strike.
Next week on Who Done It?
What is this down here?
It's the thunder.
What is that?
Let's do that.
What? I've never heard that.
You just discovered something.
Oh, I was playing an octave.
What are you drinking? What beer are you having? What beer are you having?
It's only like, what, 3 o'clock?
It's gonna be a good night.
Thank you.
Wanna hang a sec?
I'm gonna hang this cleaning
Here?
right here.
Wanna hang a sec with me?
It's not when we get back here, they always get gross. So they're hanging
Right over there.
There's so many options. There's no one. So,
Enough messing around.
you guys ready?
Yeah, let's go.
ready to do this. Let's reach. I had someone ash into this and I got really pissed. It's like, dude, this is a game. I'm fucking
That's hilarious. Are you supposed to get all of them in?
You get all of them in the inner ring.
Yeah.
That's tough.
It's fun. We have that other one that.
Wait, no, that's your bad side now.
I don't
You're
have
hideous.
that
I'm just kidding.
What?
You're hideous. You're ugly.
Is it like impossible?
What do you like?
No, you can actually do it.
Yeah, it's
15.
It-
We can
It's not too bad.
Nah, it's. It trick
For
is
the
getting
interview.
them in the center
Yeah,
circle
only for
because
the
there's only
interview.
one outlet or one inlet.
That's right.
You can't do
There's
that, really?
right here. There's
That's
a,
awesome.
just
Oh yeah, I don't
Sure,
understand.
to get out.
Are we gonna release this? What do we do with this? I'm gonna smoke. I don't care.
It's very
I just want to have a cigarette. I guess I will too.
It's an interview.
Well,
Like,
it's different for you. No one gives a shit about me.
That's definitely true.
alright.
You're right. I don't want to. I don't want to not be able to release it because I'm
You don't have to worry about being that clean. I appreciate it.
It's cool. I
So I'll get some paper towels.
Should've got that out.
It was a good like motion of like an X motion that like nothing got hit. It was
Yeah, the liquid went one way, the camera went the other.
No problem.
What are the questions? I don't
We
know.
may be unlucky, but we're really lucky when unlucky strikes.
screens.
We're gonna be talking over each other.
I'm not sure. First thing I'm gonna ask is, you guys explain the Loft, just because I heard many stories, but I didn't have the privilege of actually experiencing it.
Like the earliest days. Well, let's see. I mean,
Yeah. And then if we could go on to the music culture of Macomb when you guys were here, and then hopefully that goes into some discussion about how
Can I sit here? Is that okay?
it's fallen off,
I don't wanna be
and
in the
then
back
how
shot, just
to
in
rebuild
case
it.
I-
And because that's basically what the Loft is now, is just trying to rebuild this music culture
Okay,
that
is this Brian's? Or-
isn't apparent.
Oh, yours. Oh, you
What's your video for primarily? Is it for your videography?
I don't know what to say.
Promotional for.
No, we can do it on the
jerk more.
Loft if we have enough
Are you
fish.
handling this?
Oh,
Well, I think Slav should answer the original question about
With the Loft, because you were the Loft.
yeah. Well,
I mean, we could all,
we should. Are we good? Are we?
we all
Yeah, actually,
experiences.
I mean, having the camera on already.
Oh, okay.
But like to explain, I think some people come here just for the open mic. They don't know that there's before us there are people who throw shows, and then before us there are,
Yeah.
so that we actually.
Well, there should be some talk about Dale then too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to talk about the Dale. I mean, just like the music scene in general. I mean, do you know who was like first here? Like who the guys who lived here like was first starting? Because that was before Brady too.
Yeah, like Doug and Pablo and all those guys.
Yeah. Do you know if there's anything earlier than that?
There was when I was in like high school.
Yeah, because I don't even know back
Why aren't you in this,
Yeah,
Joe?
so yeah,
I don't know the people who were in it.
if there's a seat in front of the bookcase.
Or
I can spot right here.
I don't want
Yeah,
to be in it. I don't want to be in the film.
You don't want to be in the film?
I will.
Who's drunk?
We can just honest. Yeah, man. Well, I know in terms of like the old days, like with Doug and Pablo. I mean, in terms of just the Loft itself, like it was just a really cool spot. And back, like I feel like back when they were at the place too, it was like people would come like super early too. Like it'd be like 7, 8 o'clock, and this place would be full of people, which is cool. It was like the pre and the post game. Like everyone just loved it here, and it was like, I mean, it kind of became almost like a musical fraternity that it was just kind of created, but it was like just a bunch of people who wanted to come around, like, and like music was the whole backbone of the whole thing.
The
which
goal,
was the cool part.
the goal of the Loft and the day old working in tandem was to have live music somewhere at a DIY venue someplace every weekend in Macomb. That
Yeah.
something could be happening all the time. And I think that persisted for a while, for a couple of years. That happened. It was steady. It was thriving. It was really happening.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting, you said a while and then a couple years, that when people come to Macomb, that it's just a 4-year tenure and then they bounce out.
It is. That's the problem. The city is so transient with people coming in for school and not staying very long, and they don't have a lot vested in it, so they can come and do what they want to do. But there were a few people who knew that they had to kind of leave an impression on here, and they came in and they did the work to sustain these venues and these places that a lot of people to come through.
And used it to get experience doing that type of thing, contacting bands from other towns.
Exactly.
And
it was passed on from person to person.
Yeah.
And whoever they saw had kind of the ambition to do it. Then they're like, all right, here, I think you can do this. Keep the whole, keep it going.
Yeah.
And it took like a lot of work too. Like it wasn't easy. That's part of why it was so hard.
Absolutely.
It was like people had to really, I mean, especially getting stuff with bands from out of town, like you have to really put in the effort, make sure that they're reliable, they're actually going to show up, and like actually
Make
get
sure
here.
people are gonna come to the show too.
Yeah, well,
and
that's
maintain
part
the
of it.
venue too,
Yeah.
which is like enough work in itself.
Yeah, and that's like when if you have enough shows, like in terms of getting people there, people know there's stuff going every weekend. You really build like that.
Yeah.
It's a
I
different
was
kind
one
of
of those
relationship. You know, than like if you go to frat parties every single weekend, you meet somebody at a frat party and you see them in class like the next week or whatever, you're not going to really think much of it. But if you see somebody at the Loft and they see them in class the next week, you're going to be like, hey, what's up? You know, it's kind of a special kind of little brotherhood.
Totally.
Yeah,
It was a little esoteric, even though like it was accessible to, but you had to know somebody. You know what I mean?
right.
Unless you wandered by and you'd probably be admitted just because they'd let anybody in the door.
Yeah.
There wasn't really a limit on the size of parties.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Like, informal fraternity. You meet somebody here and that actually like sparks a conversation outside of here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like you're saying, you have that special bond. You know?
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing. People with similar tastes finding out their niche and having a place where people can do that.
Music was just kind of the way of bringing the people in, and then you meet all the people, and then the other stuff is like spawned from that. Music's just the way of getting everybody to kind of get together.
And it's like a cool thing that like it's something that you discover like, oh man, you know about the Loft. Like it's almost like this cool like little thing that like just exists that you know about. And it's like a little treasure that you found.
It's like
I felt cool because of it. You know?
Yeah, definitely.
gave birth to like a family as opposed to like it's like the Loft family.
It was
There
absolutely a family.
It's not like, oh, I partied at Theta Xi this weekend, so I'm in the Theta Xi family now.
That was the biggest part of it too, was the open door policy here. Like, it's not just party time. The morning after, the doors open, and people just come through and sit down and hang out and discuss the night before and all the happenings.
And hopefully help clean from
Hopefully
The shovel.
I remember
shovel.
the snow shovel.
Elaborate
shoveling
that
up.
for the fucking.
There's so many cans and bottles everywhere. The fastest way was just with a snow shovel, right across the floor. Actually, and we got sick of mopping the floor every time, and we were looking for a faster way to do it. And so Tom, Reeder, and Josh just took a big bucket of soap water and just threw it on the ground, expecting it to disperse evenly, and it all like settled in the one middle spot where everyone stands in front of the band. It's this huge pool of disgusting water.
There's definitely a line dead on that one.
Where people were standing, like you could feel it that going down. And
and like during shows, like you could feel like the
It was like a,
floor.
it was like a little
gosh,
trampoline or something. It was awesome.
We were getting that a tiny bit at our last open mic night with enough people that we had. You know?
I really could never get over how many people we were able to pack into this place. There were people standing on the countertop to see the band at some point. So it was just, this is going to collapse. The floor is going to collapse.
There's like 150 easily. I'm sure.
I'd say
that we packed in.
so many. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
At least.
Yeah, especially for Blue Party, that show. That was something else, man.
Yeah, there were also a few bands that came through regularly that helped keep this place alive. They really didn't have a connection to Macomb except for this place and the people that lived here. But the National Rifle from Philly, Blue Party from New Orleans, they made it a point to come out at least once a year, if not twice. And you know, it's just nice to have a little pocket of your own fans here. But just because they were so dedicated, they loved what was happening here, they wanted to come back. It's such a great place to play.
How did you get connected to bands in Philly and what was the other place?
I think they came through early on in their career, just as they were touring around and wanted to hit college towns, but they were playing at bars, and then someone turned them on to the DIY scene, playing at the Dale or playing here. And really, Brady was a big part of maintaining all those connections with those bands. He was huge on booking and had just a big Rolodex of names that he could go through. And once he was known as the guy to put it together, then everyone could contact him and set it up easily.
And he was like studying that too. He was like studying music
business, exactly.
That was his deal. That was what he wanted to do, and he did a great job for it. He had a great mind for it. It was consistent, and that's a huge thing to maintain is consistency. When you're having your own venue, you want to always have something going on to keep people coming back. And that was what he did.
That's an awesome informal internship. Like
that's such a great way.
He was working for himself, but it was a way to accent and complement the skills that he was learning in the formal education.
I mean, it's like for music business, it's a resume builder to do something like this.
Probably pretty sure he got more out of doing the bookings here than sitting in the class and reading those books.
Totally.
And that's like what it does. Like actual real life practice, you can't teach that in a classroom except for like one examples at a time. But like doing it yourself is how you find out how it actually is. Because there's a lot of stuff that happens, especially running a DIY venue, you'd never have expected until it actually happens too. And that's like with this place, that definitely there was a lot of things that happened that we would never have expected until you get a bunch of people.
Give me
examples. I mean, there's a lot of times where people get excited and they just punch a hole in the wall. That's always fun.
That's unexpected.
Why was that a thing? We had to patch all these holes at the time. That's the reason we got kicked out of here. That's the reason the Loft got shut down. Was because
holes.
But I mean, you know, it kind of comes with the territory, I guess. But
Yeah.
you look closely, there are many a hole in these walls.
Yeah,
from
there.
just, you know,
Yeah, just why not?
the dude who wanted to do that.
Yeah. Or I think Brady actually, that wall over there that's now the kitchen cabinets.
Oh, he was thrown through that
Yeah,
wall.
Brady got thrown through that.
What? I never heard that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, right through it.
Why?
Clean
Yeah,
through.
just cause. Yeah.
He got
that was it.
thrown through.
I guess he's a throwable guy. He's just got that kind of.
Yeah. So that was
Just got that,
Incredible.
that face.
yeah.
You look like a throwable guy.
Yeah.
There's,
I shouldn't be asking questions, but how is the Loft different from the Day Old? Were they different or the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Day Old was just absolute basement grunge,
Grungy,
sweaty,
yeah.
hot, dark, loud. You know, just
Yeah.
everything
Not
you think
pretty,
of
you know.
on one end of the spectrum of the DIY venue of just
Yeah.
like the really do-it-yourself end. It was
Was it a big
it was
basement?
filthy and it was awesome. It was not a big basement.
No, it was
but
very
big
small.
enough, and it got real hot and it got all those things. The Day Old, their goal, which they actually succeeded with for a long time, was they had shows every weekend. Every weekend something was going on there, and it was a great location for it too because it was a little a long driveway off the street,
Right next to
and
campus.
tucked away and some trees and stuff. You really didn't know what was going on there if you weren't in it.
Yeah.
So
It wasn't
we,
like
we
too
weren't
loud.
hassled,
Yeah,
you
it's
know.
damp,
They could do that.
Yeah.
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 With the Loft, I think it was a little more. What's the word I'm looking for? Apparent what was happening here. It's a very.
Yeah.
Conspicuous, maybe?
Yes, it's a very conspicuous venue right in the middle of the square. Attracts a lot of attention. A lot of people came through, and it was a little more put together, I think, in terms of bills and shows. It was more of an event, but the Day Old was
Yeah.
just a regular place that you can go to where something
Yeah.
was going on.
And that's like Day Old Basement was just the ultimate party place. Like when you first go in, like through that basement, there was like this like set small room kind of by itself, and it's just like coated with everything, like just ash everywhere. And,
Yeah.
like it was just really grungy and then what you would do is like that's like where you could kind of hang out and talk, and then there was a door where if you opened it up, then you could go where the show was, and it was this like little compact room. The ceiling was like there.
And they had a
pretty
little
much.
stage in there.
Yeah, it kind of was like elevated, like
Raised
a little
platform.
bit, yeah. And you really did. You just crammed everything in there, and you're playing for people who are right in your face, and it was like all over the place too.
What kind of bands played at the Day Old? Was it local bands mostly, or did bands come from out of town?
Yeah,
play the Day
I don't
Old
think
too?
they got many out of town bands. It was a lot more local
Yeah.
scene. Yeah.
It really was. It was just a great place to kind of. It was more focused on the party, I would say.
Mr.
Day
F
Old.
started there.
Oh, that's perfect.
A few of the guys lived there, and that was like their kind of residency place.
Yeah.
Well, actually, they weren't Mr. F then. They were AF7,
Yeah,
which I won't say what that stands for.
yeah, yeah,
All fun.
But yeah, very all fun stuff.
yeah,
Holy man.
yeah.
Let's roll with that. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, very. You had the kind of the put together side of it and the slap it together side.
Yeah, totally. And
They
then,
complemented each other well.
Were they in? Were they both functioning at the same time ever? Or was it Day Old and then that Day Old Basement and then the Loft?
They were functioning concurrently.
Because
Yeah,
I never
they were sharing
got to go to the
something.
Day Old. I don't know if it was functioning when I was.
It was not.
a freshman.
I think it was done when you were here. That was,
Yeah.
the people moved out. They had
that's why
some
it ended.
things with the lease, and the house was sold. And
yeah,
you
the
know,
dad who owned it. Yeah, he sold it. So that was it. They actually made a video about the Day Old Basement too.
Yeah.
There's a really great documentary about
Yeah.
Dale. That's worth checking out.
Yeah.
And the
Absolutely.
Day Old still had people stumbling up to it within a year ago. The
Expecting
people-
parties.
Yeah,
It's
expecting
like, hey,
parties.
I'm here. Where's the music?
Yeah, we heard that there was a party here, and they're like, no, there hasn't been in a year.
Sorry, actually, that was 3 years ago. You just missed it.
Yeah, you're a little late.
Yeah.
I was wondering, like, it seems like there's not like many bands of college like Western college bands anymore, or like it doesn't seem
Nowadays?
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like that.
I guess maybe because we're not so connected into the loop, but I think that is
I think
the way it is.
Well, when we were here,
there's like
understand
4
being in
different
town.
bands happening at any time. An afternoon mood
Four
was
doesn't
sprung
even
from
seem
here.
like there was. I feel like there was less than 4 when we were here.
Mr. F was there. And
Starlight
Marcos.
Jones.
When we were here, I mean, when we
Yeah.
started.
When we were playing here, there was
When you started, that was definitely decline.
Mellowship.
So by then, yeah.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Us, Mellowship, and then Luke Styles' metal band. And then I don't know. And
Yeah, I don't know of any others.
Off Davenport, yeah, I don't know any other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a music trend where EDM is coming up.
That's what I
and
was
where,
thinking.
you know, people sit by their computer and that's the music scene going up, or what it is. I mean, I've also heard from people that will say that they develop their instrument of choice in high school, but then once they get here, they don't see the infrastructure to actually keep playing it,
Yeah.
or a reason to keep
Yeah.
playing it. And
Right.
that's also a reason why.
I think
it
that
is decreasing.
having venues that you could having prospects as a band, places to play that are like in the town that you're in, and like
Yeah.
that
Makes you
causes
wanna
bands
do
to
it.
be formed
Right.
and like
Yeah.
Why would you
because
start
like
a band?
So
you
if
can
those
get
go away,
so you can
then
get
the bands will
acclaim.
go away.
You know, if you form a band in a town where you can play at a couple venues, then like you get seen by your peers, like you get practice performing, like so like
But
as
once
that,
those venues start leaving,
I think the loss of the venues caused the
Yeah.
decline in the formation of bands.
I believe that. I bet.
Because I mean, a lot of times like
That's
just
super
if it's-
interesting.
Yeah,
I
and
didn't-
it's like just through the education scene. Like I mean, there's like ensembles to play, but there's not like a rock ensemble like at Western like that you can like perform and for people like it's like so a lot of people would like even trombones, trumpets, like all that like a lot of people would just put it down after high school because I mean like why would they?
Where
But it's
do you
like
take
oh
it?
hey
Yeah.
like do you want to play in the ska band? It's like well obviously yeah. So
I think really the people that are like have to do the work to make it happen is like the music students, like the people that are claiming to do that are claiming to know to do what to do and love it, and they're the ones that kind of have to do it, and then like the punk kids too, like they do the DIY basement shows all the time. So it seems like there's kind of like the two separate ways, and I think the Loft was like a good mixture of like kind of the DIY punk ethic,
They definitely
and then
combine
also
both.
Yeah.
the music school. So you'd get kids
Yeah,
that played
absolutely.
saxophone,
Yeah.
and then kids that were just like all punk
I
guys.
guess that
Yeah.
connection was just
Yeah.
somewhere lost along the way,
Yeah.
where there wasn't that bridge between the two.
Yeah, and like I'm not a punk guy. Like but I've been to punk shows, and if when I was going here, if there was ever a show, no matter what, I would go to the show. Like
yeah.
but I just think that's kind of lost. And I think like what you're saying about like EDM and DJs, like you can just have a guy set up in a corner and play his laptop, which I'm not saying it's better or worse, but that's like more of the trend now than rather having a full band like take a big amount of space, be really fucking
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
Right.
So we don't even have that. We
Yeah,
don't have
exactly.
that.
Really?
That's what I was
There's
gonna
no-
say.
there's no-
No, there aren't shows happening like they were EDM or.
Well, I don't know. I think that might be like at just like house parties. Like if you go to a frat, I bet they'll have like a DJ or something, or at least just like some dance music
Some dude,
playing.
MP3
usually-
yeah,
exactly.
MP3
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Really?
part of that, like, I mean, there's also the problem of like trying to play house shows now, and how you just expect them to get shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
that's
the
what
man
happens.
has tightened the screws on
Yeah,
the house
so-
show. Let's not discount that
Yeah.
factor right there. Like we towards the end of when we were living here and putting on shows here at the Loft, it was a 2 out of 3 chance we'd get shut down.
Yeah, that's what it ended with eventually.
and you can't invest that much time and effort
Yeah,
into
it's very-
booking and putting together a party only to have it shut down in within a half an hour.
Over and over again.
And that really like messes with your reputation as being a venue where people aren't going
Right.
to keep showing up if like there's a chance that
They pay
it's
the
not going to
entry
happen.
fee and they stay.
Yeah,
for 20
exactly.
minutes.
Exactly.
Well, I think
So I don't know what drastic changes happened in the Macomb law
Policies,
enforcement
yeah.
policies.
Well, Wheeler
yeah,
Block
but-
Party definitely that's like when they made those new rules, like 150.
The ordinance.
oh, they
Yeah.
could come into any.
All those
Yeah.
ordinances, yeah.
Yeah.
Which the DIY people, the people in the scene were pretty active in fighting when that
Well, and I
ordinance was
remember
put up.
you guys
Everyone-
all went to
people
the city
spoke at the
council meeting.
courthouse.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
spoke out against it. Like
Yeah.
we're trying to do things here, and this would definitely impede that.
Actually, I went to that with Josh, like the whole hearing thing.
the
and everything.
hearings?
Yeah. But they someone
Hard for
actually
you guys
heard
to-
people.
It was the
talking.
hearing. No one
But yeah,
was.
like they didn't listen. Like,
No one was
No,
here.
they were just like sitting
They have their agenda, and they're gonna
hearing about
follow
this.
through.
Yeah, they didn't care about anything like that they were saying, and then just and then they just went through. It was like, do we approve it? Yes, 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 and then that was
It
it.
was done. Yeah,
their
and
agenda
all the
already,
effort we
you know.
put in rallying the troops and doing all that stuff,
That's ridiculous.
that had no effect. in the
Yeah,
end.
yeah,
That was definitely a big factor. So I don't know. I think it's a loss of ambitious people to carry it on in the face of all this
Yeah.
hardship and just
Yeah.
the man putting the screws on the scene
Yeah.
here.
yeah.
I think a good like little anecdote was from like the last time we played here. Like There had been no shows here for like a
The
year.
last show that happened.
The last show that there had been no
that
shows.
was even after a year or more
Yeah.
of nothing.
But people knew, and people came, and there was a lot of people
It
here.
was big and awesome.
And we
like,
played for a little bit, and the cops came, and then we got $100 ticket or whatever, and everyone was so down for just to pay. Everybody paid like $1, whatever they could to just keep
Yeah,
us
people
playing.
threw down.
And
They're
people
just
was,
do it.
You guys
were ready.
You used
Yeah.
the money that you made.
The cops,
Yeah, but
I
it
would
was
say
all
actually were kind of
together
cool
there.
about it.
They were. It's not them. They're
Yeah.
enforcing. They're enforcing the thing. It's much higher than just the police officers who
Yeah.
come here to shut it down. It's
Right.
not- I don't think it's on them.
Except
Oh,
for
definitely not.
Diva Cop though. Did you
I remember David Cops who came up and grabbed the microphone.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
He grabbed the microphone from out
Yeah,
the
there's a
stage.
cop. He went all the way up
Party's
and
over.
ran up to the microphone. And was like, "All right, everybody, party's over. Let's go home. Like, get out of here."
I
It's
wonder
like,
who that was.
What are you doing,
Oh my
dude? Like, it
God.
was his first arrest. He was so excited.
So fucking cool.
He's been waiting for this moment.
Put that microphone down, or I'm gonna call the cops.
And, like at the last show here, it was 11:15. Cops showed up, and then they're just like, "All right, well, we suggest you shut it down, but if we come back again, the house gets $100 fine, and then if we come back a third time, then we're the bad guys, and we
Someone's
shut it
getting
down.
arrested.
Yeah, people are getting arrested. We're taking the roommates to jail. All this, like basically the worst case scenario if they came back the third time." And so then we were just like, well, we don't want to end this.
Do we got $100? Anyone between us? Do we have $100?
Between 100 people, do we have 100?
All right, let's do it.
Yeah, and that was actually kind of cool. It sucked because it was like 11:30 when it shut down. Like they only gave us like 15-20 minutes.
We had, like,
It's getting
Before they
faster
came
and
back
faster.
Yeah.
The turnaround time is quite quick.
And it really sucks because like there's bad shit going down all over Macomb all the time with like
McDonough County.
frat parties
Yeah.
and just like you know there's nasty horrible things happening someplace, and this is like a community event.
It's kind
and
of a
like,
magical thing.
Yeah, it's
one
so
of the safest places to party.
yeah, and
Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if something bad happened, we would know exactly who did it and where to find them.
I've never seen like a fight break out. Like you go to walk down Wheeler or Adams or something, you see like just like
All the time.
drunk people
It's a
like
shit show.
puking. Yeah, it's totally a
absolutely.
shit show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not to say that
The
things
worst
have
here
never
is
got out of hand.
is someone punches a hole in the wall.
Or someone gets
It's like,
thrown
alright,
through
we
the
do
wall.
damage
but
to the
like
property,
in a
not to
friendly way.
yeah. We only harm inanimate objects.
Toss.
There was no injuries.
Except the wall. That was her pretty good.
I don't know why. I don't know why this is the target. Or maybe we just got wrapped up in all the other stuff. They're trying to stop all those parties and trying to stop all the bad stuff, and they just see this as an extension of that, even though if you look at it kind of objectively, it's very, very different.
But as you learn from
It's
going to the
not the
meeting and
same.
trying to say your piece, they're not looking at
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know, they don't care.
And the
Yeah,
cops,
they're-
they almost like didn't want to do it, right? Didn't they say?
Yeah,
like,
they
we're-
made
They were nice about it, but they did it.
Yeah.
Sir, you can be nice about it. They still
I
fucking
feel like
did
they're,
it.
Yeah.
they
That's
were,
a big
And
thing.
what was
care that they were nice.
really
They're
weird
angry
about
that they-
that-
Man, I'm not the bad guy here,
Yeah.
but you're a bad guy.
Yeah. What was really weird about that show is that there were some people outside sports court. Once the cops came in, there were two nicely dressed people ran up the stairs
came
and
up
like
here.
we saw the cops were here, so we thought
Like,
it'd be
what's
safe
going
to
on?
come up.
Yeah.
And they were checking the place out. I'm like,
They just walked up.
yeah, that's like these
that was
two
so bizarre. I remember
mid-40s
that.
couple,
people,
you know,
a couple,
like-
yeah, just walked up and were trying
That's
to
your
check this place
invitation. You
out.
see cops come in, and you're
And
like, all right.
It would have been so fine for them to come here,
It's,
you know,
it's
anyway.
aggravating because I think in some ways
It's like a
the
spectacle.
powers that be that think
Absolutely.
that this place is competition, but the fact that if you're not 20, you can't get to a place to see music in this town. So we're not competition with any other formal business because we'll have 18, 19, 20-year-olds come in here, hang out with people that are legally of age to drink, but then it's a way for them to have something to do on the weekend. It's
Yeah.
something for
Somewhere to go.
What do you do
Worth
as
the
a
while.
freshman? Like,
Yeah, and it's something
nothing-
different. Like I can say that when I was a freshman
unique.
in college coming into Western, I didn't know anybody. I was like kind of nervous about, just being in college, being in a new place, being on my own for the first time. And I met, these guys, and I came to the Loft, and I saw that it was a great family and a great scene and a place to listen to music, and have camaraderie between each other, and that
Yeah.
kind of made me feel comfortable, you know. And so,
Yeah.
Like, where else are you gonna go for that?
I immediately,
Yeah,
I mean,
I
because
know.
I'd gone to like the frat parties and stuff like this too, and I just immediately preferred something like
Adams
this.
Street.
Right. And this place is what's bringing you back. If you guys didn't
Yeah.
have the day old or the Loft,
Yeah, the
you guys
legacy of
would
it.
not even think about coming back to Macomb.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true. Why we wouldn't be here right now if
No.
not for this in the community that
And what
this
happened?
that was born out of this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't have been a band even.
Or that, yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say is that like with something like this, like it was about having a good time and like there were parties and bands and stuff, but it's like, you know, people are actually like doing something.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not like
Growing.
just going to a party, like
That's true, too.
like exchanging ideas and just like, you know, it's a lot of work to do this. Like it takes some drive.
And what you're
creativity.
seeing, what you're
work,
seeing is
creativity.
like enriching. Like
Yeah.
the fact
we
that
had
like artists like
projectors.
hone their craft here.
Yeah.
Like people come from far away to play, and they're professionals, and you know you get to witness something that's like wholesome and like.
And that is something too, like instead of just like anything like through electronic, like you can do some improv on the spot. But like I feel like in
Yeah,
the
it's
context
totally
of a band, it's like you're seeing like you don't know what's gonna happen, and it's like so like there's stuff like especially like with improv or stuff like that. But even just like we don't know what we're gonna do up there. Like it's kind of cool to just see what happens.
Yeah.
And you totally affect it. Like the crowd totally affects the band. Like what happens, and there's a total
It's
back
interactive.
and forth. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let alone the artists, the people who came here and just kind of met in the conversations that were had here, and like this was a little bastion of intellect and
Yeah.
and
Well,
discourse.
like
Network.
Brian's brother, he went here. He's a graphic designer now. He designed our posters. So we met all these people through the scene, all these different creative people, and it's like, you know,
They're fueling us.
Yeah.
Like that's how we're getting
it's
through.
just great that the great part about it is people that are actually like doing shit. Like Chris
All the
is
collaboration.
doing a bunch
Yeah.
of things, like make Macomb your own, and all this cool stuff that you're doing. Like, I would never know about it if I didn't meet you. Well, we met through Campus Greens, but same. It's involved in the whole like.
Yeah, because I mean that was also like playing out there too, like just like playing live bands and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like anywhere where they have it, you just meet so many people. And
Yeah,
make
it's a
connections,
network,
and-
you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't be videotaping right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gordon would definitely not be here.
What kind of conversations can you describe like that goes on, say, after the show is over?
Like at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it's,
I need to
Oh man!
You know, just
what
generally-
rating? What is this film going to be rated? Because
really just generally dealing
I'm keeping my clothes on.
I was about to say, what's happening? What's the next thing?
Just wait till the end of this.
you know, dealing with human life and existential conditions.
Yeah.
Really, what other conversations can you have where you're a college kid trying to figure yourself out, but you find a place that has lots of like-minded people with
Yeah.
you, and that's such a great thing to find that you can talk about whatever
Talk about
you
that.
want, the things, the issues that are messing with you and matter to you, and find other people that can also discuss it in an intelligent way.
Yeah.
Hands down. And
Yeah.
I think also with the people that come here, that's the tie that binds, where we have stuff in common. Like I don't classify myself as a musician because I'm just not good. But the fact that it's a trusting relationship. The people that come here, I value your ideas. I might not agree with them, but I'm still gonna try and figure out why you think the way you do, and then incorporate that and how I look at the world and how I look at myself and all of that. That's not gonna happen at a frat party.
So you're talking about the
Yeah.
tie that binds being
Definitely.
like
Yeah.
mutual open-mindedness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely
Because
no
everyone's got
point.
something to offer. Like
Yeah.
it's just they've all got their own
And
thing.
because of that, everybody's comfortable. Like if you're at a party at the Loft and say there's 100 people in here, I would feel incredibly comfortable going up to any one of those 100
Totally.
people and introducing myself and saying, "Hi, how's it going?" Trying to start a conversation with them. Not the case at a frat party, you know.
Right. So the people who
Weird.
would be like nervous and like not able to participate in discussion at a frat party, either
Sure.
because it like isn't conducive to like new people coming and like
Right,
expressing their
right,
ideas.
they're not
Like
like
so
that.
like they get to come to a place and see that other people are like accepting and interested in hearing what they have to say.
Yeah, and even like I have a problem with this at bars. Like I'll see somebody in a meeting or a class, and I want to just ask, like, "Hey, what did you think about this one thing that happened during the meeting or the class?" but it's at a bar. It's not an accepted conversation piece, and then it's not quite a trusted environment. Like, okay, is this just a gateway to a hookup, or what? What's your intention?
Right. Do you think there's an intention behind it?
And it's just like, I just want to know this answer. Like, I'm not trying to do anything else. I'm just curious about this. And at the Loft, and it kind of fuses that coffee shop place with a late night venue. And
this is the middle ground there.
It's still a house.
Yeah.
It's still a place where people live, so it's got like that homey, like you could go into someone's room and
That's
it's like
huge appeal.
yeah, it's very.
It is
very
intimate.
intimate.
Another cool thing after like the shows a lot of times is that we just set up the PA and just like set up a laptop. So put on whatever songs you want.
Yeah,
and it was
sharing
music. It was just an extension of that. It was like, check out this cool song I know, and everyone would dance afterwards and stuff. And
it
was really cool.
It really wasn't about like, I mean, it wasn't about like getting all dressed up, like all fancy and like spending 2 hours getting yourself ready to like go to the Loft. People were
come
speak for yourself.
I see you spent a great deal of time there.
You know, it might also be worth it to note that, like, other than being like a melting pot of like-minded people discussing their like ideas and philosophies and having existential discussions, like, it was a place to cut loose. In like, you can't have those discussions all the time. Like, you have to recreate after a week of school, and you know, like, people would come here and just dance all night. You know, and there's like, that's just as important in a different way.
It pretty much has everything.
Anything
you wanted this place to be.
You could get so much out of it.
You got exercise by.
You want clouds made out of cotton balls? You got it.
Feeling frustrated.
Push a hole.
Kick a soccer ball through a window.
I have to say this because I don't know. I just keep thinking about it. Did a girl pee in the hallway one time? Did that happen?
During my tenure here?
I don't know. I just feel like that keeps popping into my head.
That happened at Josh's house.
I mean, I can't say that that's not like a definite possibility. And I don't want to give you the wrong impression, like those things do happen here, but it's not outside of the realm of possibility. I could definitely see that happen. Many things happen here. Many things have happened.
Yeah.
Is that one of them?
Most likely.
Quite possibly.
I mean, there's one bathroom and a long line.
Yeah, that's
It's all in the
yeah.
bathroom.
150 people who are drinking, so.
Go ask the girl.
That floor looks awful.
I once got bitched out so bad for bypassing the line. I was like, sorry, I live here, I gotta piss. And this one girl just went off on me, and I guess I probably shouldn't have done that and used this seniority for no reason. But
Well, guys pee faster
You're
than
the one with
girls.
the snow.
yeah, I was like, dude, it's in and out job. I'm not gonna go gab like
You honestly
that.
probably, if you wouldn't have said anything, she probably wouldn't have noticed. You could probably just slip in there and slip right back
No
out.
fucking way. She was like,
she
she must have been on. She must have been on the brink. She probably pissed in the hallway.
Mystery solved.
We're making great progress.
We're uncovering it one step at a time.
I do feel bad about that.
That's I feel really bad too about like there was like a hole in the floor over there. I was just telling Jordan about this and like
You put popcorn on there?
no, there was like Brady had a samurai sword, like a katana, and like he had it and it was like waving around and stuff. So I was like jokingly holding it, and then there was like a hole in the ground. So I was like, oh, like, I was just like pretending like to put it in there, and then the handle like went off of the sword. And it was just a blade sitting in this hole that like there was people.
Easily
like and like
down below us.
Yeah, down below us.
The hole is right there.
The whole,
see it.
the whole could go down.
Yeah,
You can see the floor of Soundgarden.
Yeah.
You can see it like the carpeting.
It was
How
like,
is
If it
that
didn't
okay?
get stuck in there, that's why we'd like be eating popcorn and like watching a movie and it falls on the ground. You just shove it in the hole.
That's where you scoop the garbage in.
Garbage. All the mouth water.
That's where it all went.
Yeah, luckily that's not the low point, because otherwise they wouldn't be opening a restaurant downstairs.
There'd be no way they could have drywall up.
Yeah.
Or the ceiling.
Is it patched? Is there a hole in the hole?
The restaurant downstairs is put a ceiling up, or drop ceiling, so we can't see through anymore. But there's a hole over there. There's a hole over there.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know if some guy just decided to drill a hole or what the deal is, but
Must have been running wiring up or something.
Well, I don't know.
It doesn't make sense.
The deal with this place before was part of the department store next door, and this was their furniture showroom.
That's right.
So this was all just one big open space, and they had different like hooks and fixtures, and you can kind of see them all still up here that were hanging different light fixtures and just displaying all sorts of stuff. Then after that, they put in these paper thin walls to make some semblance of separation between the rooms, and thought that it'd be a good idea to have people live here.
Yeah.
So that kind of explains any weird thing that you see in here. It's like, oh, probably from this department store thing, like this big freight door that leads into the storage area.
Yeah, it's never used ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a deadbolt on the other side, so we can't even open it.
I always wonder what was on the other side of the door.
Nostalgia
It's
has their storage
for
room right now.
nostalgia.
Oh, yeah.
It just leads into the shop next door.
Yeah. What's going on?
Hey,
Ruby.
what's up?
Yeah, so that's the story with this place.
We should
Well,
talk
I think it
about-
was a Woolworths. Was it a Woolworths? Is that what's next door?
There's a Woolworths just down the
Woolworths is
street.
at the art center.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what this place was.
I don't know if that was a part of that. If this was a part of, there was some department store.
Yeah.
thing.
I wonder.
I don't know how long ago either. But.
Yeah, this place just has a lot of history. There's a middle school teacher that used to live here. He's currently a middle school teacher in Macomb, and he told stories about how during rain and winter he would ride his bike in circles up here.
Oh, there was so much bike riding happening up here.
And scooters.
We sled down the stairs. Scootering.
Yeah.
It's such a huge space. You can do whatever you want in here. That's why the soccer ball broke the window. That's why we played frisbee in here. It's such a great space.
And the high ceilings. The high ceilings are my favorite.
Yeah.
It feels open, you know.
Yeah, you can pretty much do anything here.
Great sound too.
Yeah.
I've never had a better venue for sound and intimacy and audience participation / reaction, all that stuff that matters. It was all. It was all
And it's huge too. Like a lot of times, like when you're playing, there'll be like a spot where like the music's happening, and then another spot where people go and talk. But this place, it's like you're either outside or you're here, and like it's just this big open space. So if you want to talk to someone, you can just kind of go a little bit farther over there.
The rooms.
And you're
that you
This is
could go.
the room. There's
Yeah.
no separation. This is the place.
Well, there were the bedrooms, and you could go like have a conversation.
There's a
and
little-
stuff.
Yeah.
So there is the little privacy, which is
Segments of
great.
it.
Like at like a bar or something, like you can't really do that. You're just like loud noises all the time.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Our house is the greatest.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just the legacy, the personally handed down from from
what is it?
member to member.
This house is like a big heirloom, you know.
Yeah.
My favorite story is still when we were moving out of here, when we were moving everything out for all the furniture. And like,
Just chucking it down the stairs.
yeah, we had like full
that was
sofas
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
great.
We would just take it to the stairs, and instead of carrying it down, we didn't carry, just like kick it.
I remember people eating lunch
Flies out the front door.
They're looking out the window like, what the fuck is going on? There's just like couches like flying out. It's like
Riding
smashing
down
on the sidewalk.
sectionals down the stairs.
Like throwing couch cushions out the windows and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No, we put on a show for them out there. That was awesome. And like we would get like everything. We'd be like, all right, like 1, 2, 3, like we.
Wash.
Oh my god, that was so fun.
Yeah. Like launch
never had so
full
much fun
couches.
moving
Yeah.
furniture.
Into the truck. That was awesome.
That was a very bittersweet day, though. That was my last day here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just happy to get it back because
Yeah. There was a period of time where it went into others' hands who weren't part of the lineage, and then the
dark days.
I think they still did their share of partying in here. I'm
It's
sure
just a
they
big party
appreciated
place,
just as much for them, but then the community was lost inside here, so it kind of came back into the right hands or whatever.
And I think that was lost when a lot of people left, and then you moved with Aaron Snowden to the place on Lafayette. It wasn't like there was lost because like no one. I mean, people knew there would be shows and stuff, but like it didn't know it'd be all the time, and people were just like, "Oh, what happened to the Loft? It's not there anymore." So then it's over. You know what I mean? No one would know like. Just like a random house is a random house. This place is in the square. It's a big place. We've been here.
It's unique too. It's
Well, they just knew about it. It was easy
its
to know about it. It
reputation.
was easy to get, like, you figured something was happening there. Once this was gone, it's like, oh, what's left?
Well, and the response we got when we kind of had like a little like reunion show here or whatever, you know, like last whenever that was.
February?
The last February.
February
Yeah.
15th.
When we had the show here that we scheduled, we promoted a lot, and the response we got from that, from everybody who used to go here, I think shows how much the Loft really meant to them. Like,
Yeah.
they're like,
Oh,
oh,
huge.
the Loft,
It
as
was
soon as you
huge.
showed the Loft, everybody was like, oh, fuck
It's
yeah.
so awesome.
Yeah, even people that don't go here anymore were excited.
Yeah, they're like, what? The Loft is
still
back? The Loft is happening?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the fact that it meant so much to them, that like there was gonna be another show with
Yeah.
the Loft, like
Yeah.
shows how much it meant to them in the beginning.
Yeah, and it's like somewhere you like know what to expect, which is big for people too. Like they're saying like, oh, we're gonna go to this party. Like I'm not sure. Like, is it good?
Yeah,
Is there
right.
A lot of people? Like I
Absolutely.
don't
No, it's
know.
Loft. You know what you're gonna get. You know
Yeah.
exactly what your night's gonna turn out like.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Do you know Ellen Bovich?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, when I was recruiting artists to display art here, when she heard, oh, the Loft, yeah, I've been going. I would love to have my stuff displayed at the Loft, so that
That's the artist whose stuff is displayed
We
now?
have
Nice.
a lot of artwork.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I did
I
know
noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I remember that. No, I totally
There's a
recognize
naked
it.
woman behind you.
Yeah, she does a lot of. She does a lot of.
Not that it'd be.
She left these here for almost a month now. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
She
she
does
took
great
one, I
stuff.
guess, and left an apology note. What?
Nah.
For taking it.
Yeah, for taking her own painting.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was a guy did it was Lou, right? Lou did a
Lou
full
Winter.
charcoal sketch of himself naked, like the size of a wall,
beautiful.
and
Oh,
he
man.
put it up in Josh's room, and just like up on the whole wall is this giant naked dude, and like Josh like couldn't take it down because it was just so well done. It was amazing. Yeah,
It was amazing.
That must have been.
He did grab a leaf.
He grabbed
He
the
did
leaf.
grab a maple leaf and tape it over. He put it over his. Tape it over his trunk.
Exactly the right decision.
Yeah.
But that was an incredible thing. I don't know. This place has just always attracted artists and wanted to, have stuff in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's just the best. It's so fun.
Yeah, so you mentioned the lineage was like Josh, somebody, and then Brady Smith, and
Yeah,
Brady Lavin.
Brady Lavin, yeah, and Josh Davis, yeah, he was living in there, and I mean,
Foz.
Foz lived here with them. Before
What was the girl's name?
April.
April.
Yeah, April was here. Aaron was here.
before that, it was Benji
Gold.
Benji Gold, yeah.
It was Benji, Brady. Who was in here? Cody.
Cody, oh
Cody.
man. Cody, yeah.
And then before that, it would have been like Doug and Pablo and
Yeah,
those guys.
they were the first ones that I knew about was Doug and Pablo, and they
We
would
should talk to them about.
Yeah,
Ask them like
Yeah.
what the deal
Yeah.
is.
I remember when
Those
I
are
was
great.
first, like when I first heard about the Loft and like what it was, I was like, yeah, man, these guys, Doug and Pablo, they got this cool space in the square, and I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Like it just sounded like the coolest thing to me. Like,
Yeah.
and like when I was first in here, it was like wide eyed. It was like,
Yeah.
never been in something like
The first show I came to here, I was like, me and Jordan were freshmen, and he showed me about it because he knew all the music people, and it was like, when I got in here, it's obviously just like cool space. Like once you get in, you're ready for anything. You're just like, wow,
Yeah.
this is like amazing. And just like, it was a great show. I don't remember who played. It might have been like Blue Party or something. Just like really high energy. Everybody's having a great time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was just like completely in awe of this. Like, this is my play. Like, I'm gonna come here every weekend. Like,
This is your milieu.
I didn't feel comfortable anywhere else here except for at the Loft. Like, you know.
This is your first kind of experience with something like this. Like, oh, this
Yeah.
is where I need to be.
These are my people.
Yeah,
this is
same.
like art, like music,
I mean,
artists.
we all had that
creative-
feeling when coming
Yeah.
in here the first
Yeah,
time.
like-
This exists. This
Yeah.
can happen. You
Yeah.
can just do this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's very unfortunate that what you Foz said earlier about the man screwing down on this. Like,
Yeah.
that's also what's killing the university. When you don't have places where you feel comfortable, then you don't want to be here.
Yeah.
When you don't want to be here, then you're going to find a university where your friends are at, where they're having a good time. Because you go back for winter
Right,
break
yeah.
and you start talking about, hey, dude, there was this awesome show, this happened. And if you can't contribute a story like that to your high school friends or to your friends from back home, then you start feeling like you're wasting your
Yeah.
time at college.
The overall culture with Macomb has such a huge deal to do with WIU, and when you come here, you want to be able to find things like this, and it's like, oh, that's why I want to be here. That's why I want to choose Macomb and choose to spend 4 very formative years of my life here, because I can have experiences like this.
And that's kind of something we were actually just talking about today, as far as keeping the music scene going and keeping it keeping it active is kind of trying to get the younger crowd in on the music scene so that when, they stay Western for 4 years and then they're gone. So like kind of targeting the younger crowd to keep it alive.
Yeah.
Keeping the interest.
And putting the effort in too, like to actually being willing to deal with stuff like having to deal with cops, having to deal with
It takes
punch holes.
ambitious people to do it, and I don't know, we gotta find those people out again.
And find the people willing to put in the time.
Right.
Like, this wouldn't be nearly as cool as what it is if it wasn't my job. Like I'm in AmeriCorps Vista where I don't dedicate 40 hours a week at least. It's usually a lot longer to where I focus on young adult recreation. Anything from 18 through 30-year-olds, if it gives them quality leisure time or something better than the bar, then it's qualifies as my job. And so building the recording studio is something I'm actually doing for work. And it's fucking awesome. Like I feel like I landed the best job. It doesn't pay shit, but I landed an awesome job where I get to revive this. I get to do something hopefully that matters to people.
Well, at least you have some backing then too. It's not just a bunch of kids trying to put something together. You have an overall overarching purpose here. That
I can talk to
gives you direction.
Different professors at the university and different like the Illinois Institute for Rural Affairs hired Joe and I to do this stuff. And so we can say, hey, this is what we're trying to do. What do you think? And actually have a theory check. And sit down and talk to, I don't know how old Chris Merritt is, but sit down and talk to him and be like, so what do you think about this idea? Well, what do you think about this idea? Here's some problems we're having. And to have that mentorship, that professional mentorship is really done a lot with how I've tried to mold this space.
I think it'd be really valuable to create some sort of distinction between what DIY venues do, like bringing music in and having just shows, versus all the other parties and all the other debauchery that happens in a college town that we just kind of get lumped in with by default. If we can kind of make it known to the whoever matters, whoever's in making decisions, that we're trying to do something different. We're trying to do something productive.
Building.
We're trying to create something here. What can we, what stipulations or measures can we take to distinguish ourselves from that?
And it'd be nice to be like that, like to be seen as an exception. It's like you see what's going on here, like, well, yeah, but do you actually know what's happening?
Right, they don't. They don't. They see it all as they don't care to know. It's just one thing.
Yeah. Which I think you can definitely do. I think you kind of dig through these like methods and this actual like more kind of an official title to it. Like you can kind of approach it more as like not just getting lumped in with that, and like kind of being something more from keeping the interest levels too.
Would there be a way with your guys' like jobs to like get like some kind of permit or something to make it be like, okay, we're having a show here.
Right.
Like
I don't know.
This is an approved document that says this is okay.
Right. Yeah, that would be huge.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That guarantee that we're not going to get messed with and that we can come and travel 4 hours to play at this place, which we would love to do, without a chance of getting shut down because we're creating something, we're making something positive, and
We have to explore that a little bit, just because there are college students that drink here, and so there is that issue.
Yeah, there's a stigma, so they like look at that.
And setting a precedent just because the powers that be might know what goes on here and it's cool with it, then somebody else who doesn't have the same ethic that we do, they say, well, they're doing it, why can't we? And then there has to be some sort of rules on that.
That's why I'm saying we have to like distinguish between the two. That this is not a normal. This is not a normal party. This is not a normal. Just let's all get fucked up and
don't measure us by the beer cans we take out the morning after.
But like the benefits it has are like super. Like there's like a trifecta, right? Like the bands who come to play get like maybe they get money. Either way, they like spread
fans.
They get fans and like promotion, and they practice. They're like exactly, and they do what they love.
Anybody would love to just play in a venue like this.
The people who come here get the enriching experience of like seeing, like going to a unique venue and seeing a unique performance, and then on top of that, so like people who are studying music business or in the music department hone their craft as well, because they're like, I don't know, it's enriching in like a few ways.
It's beneficial for all.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
It's easy to distinguish it when you think about it.
And for the incoming freshmen, that's kind of the age where like kind of trying to like figure out like what you really like in life, and what you really, like who you really want to spend your time with, and anyone of those incoming freshmen, I think they would love this place, you know.
For sure.
And there are those who would prefer to be at a frat party where people are, you know.
And more power to them. You can go ahead and do that. And part of what drives me to do this is I went to a small college where we had little pockets of that, but when you have 1,700 students and you have 4 people that are interested in this type of thing, cool, that's great, but what do you do with that? And so part of what's driving me to do this is like, all right, what would I have appreciated and went to in my undergrad years? Because I didn't do shit. I was like, the only thing that were offered were the frat parties and the bars and things like that. There was nothing like this. And stepping into a culture where they said this went down and this happened and people did this, and hearing the personal stories of all the people involved was just like, wow, this is so much better than what I've heard of from my personal experience. How do we accent that? How do we keep that going? How do we prove that to be something better and
worthwhile?
Yeah, worthwhile. And how do I create a space where me as a freshman would have loved it and would have kept me out of doing some of the stupid shit that I did do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was the beauty of this place. I think anybody could come in here and feel comfortable. Don't
feel safe.
I don't think anybody would feel uncomfortable here.
And that's so difficult to do, and it just happened, you know. Like we don't have a set of rules that this is what you do for everyone to feel comfortable. No, we just invite some cool people up, and then everyone happens to feel comfortable.
It's so easy. We just you have equipment, you contact people, and it happens because the space is here and it's good and people remember it. You know?
I think it's cool too, like just the whole thing behind like you being part of something that like music is something you can't ever conquer or get over, like, and so you're really not just going to hang out with people. It's like you're all going for this one thing that you're all like a part of and loving, and then it's just kind of the everything else, the party, everything else just kind of happens in the background.
Yeah, see, that's a huge thing that's changed to an extent with what we're able to do with the Loft now versus what it used to be, because the music can take a back seat to the party, maybe simply because it's not loud enough. Like, we can't have like a whole live band play like, you know, with an actual live drummer and a kit and like all like plugged in and electrified. Like, it's too loud and it'll get busted like it did when we had you guys play here, you know? So like, we have an open mic night and like at a point people are partying instead of listening to the music. Like, it's good to have pockets like you talked about where people can go in other rooms and have discussions and like, you know, but unless the music is literally just loud enough, it can take a back seat to the party. You know?
And the unfortunate part is we're dealing with a marketing situation where something that just isn't taught in class is cool to think about, but at the same time it just sucks because we're dealing with the marketing situation where we have too many people that come, so it becomes a party instead of a music showcase. And when it becomes a party instead of a music showcase, it kind of kills what we're trying to do. But then if we charge a cover, then we're eliminating the musicians. We're only providing the place for people who want to spend money. And you shouldn't have to spend money if you just want to kind of have these conversations or just hang out in a comfortable spot.
Right, although it's good to have a cover if you're supporting a band who's...
for a band, but then if you charge a cover, you're automatically doing a capitalist push off of...
you're excluding some of your audience, some of your people.
And
so
we can't use that to limit it.
There's no hard and fast rules for any of this, and that's why I kind of like the way it came together, which was very organically, and you know, come if you can. If you can't pay, then come on in and whatever.
And people are willing to pay if what you're supplying is like what.
And if you make that case, like, hey, these guys just traveled from New Orleans, like, you help them out, you know, then usually people
you're gonna
don't
get
have
to
a
talk to
problem
them
digging
and,
deep. But it still takes a lot of figuring out to find
like how much will you be able to get them to pay?
Usually, I think $3 was the standard.
$3.
We may have done 5 sometimes,
Like
but
especially for out of town people. But
and it wasn't so much about the amount that we were charging. It was how strict are we about getting people to pay? You know, or how, are we really going to post someone up at the door, getting every single person as they come in, or are we just going to pass a hat around at the end of the night and see what we can drum up? So it varied. But we did what we could do to support the band that came in.
Yeah. So basically, when you have expensive band coming down, you tighten the screw.
Yeah.
Want to make sure we
and
can put someone in
it
there.
was accepted that you would pay a little bit. To, it wasn't an issue.
The people who are coming here understand.
Yeah, and if you didn't, and I remember coming and paying like $2 for a $3 cover because I didn't have a third dollar, and like I wasn't like.
Shunned.
Yeah, exactly.
You better go out and find another dollar.
Yeah, do what you gotta do.
It's fun. We just get to draw a big.
We don't
I was
care.
gonna say, you got a special mark on your wrist. So you pay the full amount.
The scarlet letter.
We don't care
But
what
like
you do.
but
Come back with another $1.
we can't charge cover with what we're doing now because the show isn't always the primary.
That's
focus.
not the not the
Yeah,
main
and we don't
event.
have to support anybody
if it's like
either
an
now,
open mic.
but it would be nice to do that because that's where like the. I don't know.
Well, it's also a nice way of showing the musicians who come through here that like, hey, we appreciate you.
Yeah.
You are supported, and people are willing to throw down to have you come back.
Which is great
Come back
because
again.
all this camaraderie and family and community and comfortability and everything that we've been talking about, I mean, it all stems from the music. It's the music that gave birth to all of that. So being able to pay the bands in that way is huge.
Yeah. So now you guys are in Chicago now. Maybe the last question. Maybe.
Yeah.
Are you guys throwing house shows all the time and building some of these things, or do they not exist in Chicago?
Well, actually, we have stumbled upon a very similar kind of thing going on in Chicago. It's called Hostile Euphoria. It's a bunch of great, pretty driven people that they have done shows every weekend for a while, but they've had trouble with the law too, so now they've gone back to once a month. But they live in a small house in Logan Square. It's like 10 people living in a 5-bedroom house, and they just have bands in their basement, and they just find great underground. Like, there's obviously a lot of bands in Chicago, so they find great underground bands to come play, and it's really friendly, it's having a great time. Like, it so reminds me of this place.
Yeah,
That's
really
cool.
And
but
they
it's
have
not
stuff,
that
too.
It's not that common.
Yeah.
It is more common, obviously, in the city, but it's more of like
You got to seek it out.
yeah.
You gotta
And it's
find
more
it.
of a punk.
Yeah.
It's usually more of a punk thing. Like, punk bands are more value the DIY approach. So you can probably see a punk band in a basement any weekend, but to see a jazz fusion band, it's not that common.
And we wanted to seek that out too because we played at plenty of bars, but finding a place like that has a similar feel to this, where people care and they're there to see the music and they're not just there to get fucked up and go to a bar and dance and hook up or do whatever. That's huge for us. So we found it was like a second home for us, kind of like this place was.
We're playing it on Halloween too.
Yeah, and you run into that a lot too. Like, just when you're playing a show at a bar, it's just like you're kind of almost an afterthought for a lot of people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And for at this place, it's like
That's
it
the
really
music.
is
It's
like
like here.
they
It's
do
like-
open mics with like anyone. Like, there'll be a guy up there with a harmonica and like a guitar doing anything, and like it really is just anyone come up, do whatever you want. And like just see what happens, and everyone's just accepting of it. So it's very much like similar to this, but it's not easy to find. So
And this place is this place was very special when it was going because it's rare. Like, I have a lot of friends that are in colleges like all over, and there's nothing. Nobody knows anything like this. I've never heard of anything like. I have friends that go to like huge schools. So like there should be something going on. Like, maybe they're just not doing the work to seek it out. But
Not tuned in.
but I just don't think. I think it's very rare, and it was a very special thing.
I think Western's the right size to sustain this kind of environment, this kind of community. Western's a small school, and you can make this happen there. Maybe.
Yeah,
it's got enough.
It's small, but it's not as small as like
There's
Lawrence.
tens of
It's a
thousands.
small town, but it's like a moderate-sized school.
Yeah. So
It's big enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's
what-
big enough and
It's not too
small.
small and not huge. Yeah, it's like
So even this small
Goldilocks.
town like that venue you guys helped to cultivate was on par with even a place like Chicago. quality-wise?
I'd say in terms of quality, this place is way better than the DIY venues we found in Chicago. Chicago, it's a lot more cramped. We don't really have the open space like this.
Not
and the
the
amount
space.
this place is really the ideal in my mind for DIY venues for what I want to play at, for what I want to create. Where you know,
it's not even their fault either because it's just like Chicago.
they make do with what they can do. They do what they can.
Yeah.
But this is this is it.
Best place in the world.
Yeah. Being involved in Chicago, like coming from playing, like we started out here and then going to Chicago and like playing at bars and stuff, and the scene, there's such a big Chicago scene. There's a million bars, a million bands, so it's really like oversaturated in a way. Like it devalues like going out to see a band. You can see a band any night of the week, any kind of music. So, but like here, it was like more rare. So like when you had a show at the Loft, it was like more of a big deal. So people would come, and trying to like establish yourself as a band is very difficult. And going around to different college towns and playing is what we're trying to do. And a place like this, to have a place like this, is really important. Like you come play like Blue Party or any of those guys that came and played down here. They had established a fan base. They probably made enough money to get to the next town.
It sustained them.
And meeting a bunch of great, really talented bands in Chicago that are gonna have a hard time like getting their name out there. Like, I would love to have this place set up and just be like, you guys could come play down here. You would do great. You would get a lot of new fans, and it would just really help you out. And you'd have a good time. Everyone would have a good time. Like, it was just a great place, and I wish it was able to thrive like it used to, because it's definitely a necessary stepping stone for how to make it as a band. Like you gotta play at other places, but you know it's just really hard to do.
Yeah, and that's why I mean you guys are, you know, in terms of you keeping it on, you might just have to adjust it, you know, slightly just to, because you know times change and sometimes you just gotta adjust accordingly and just do the best what you can. So,
kind of like what Faz was saying, you gotta legitimize it in the eyes of the people that are making the rules.
Yeah.
Which kind of
That's the only way.
takes away from like the DIY like underground ethic, which is like very, you could have an opinion on that either way, but
yeah. And we're trying to find other places to go to where we can host these type of concerts. And like I did mention a different venue when you guys are thinking about coming out here, and they still have some work to do to get to where they need to be, but it's a process, and so we're working on trying to allow that, where we can have people coming from out of town to gain some college market and to showcase their talents, and also get people excited about increasing their own musical abilities. Like, I mean, I've played the harmonica off and on, and it hasn't been until getting to Macomb where I'm like, you know what, I really want to pick this up again. I play it for a couple months, set it down for a year, do the same thing over and over. And here it's like, wow, I actually want to invest my time into this because it's just so enjoyable, and I have people that will encourage me and I can jam with and just hang out with, and that I think is a rare occurrence, or I just haven't seen it, to where there's such a welcoming group of people that are just like, yeah, you fucked up on that song, it was bad, but we've all been there. And we have no problem like helping you out to get to where you're comfortable performing in front of people. And it goes back to, this is a comfortable space for many different type of people, and that's what I think college should be more about. And if the fact that we were able to do it without much support, or you guys were able to do it without much support, and then I'm getting a little bit of support to do it as well, I think ears are turning to listen to us. And unfortunately they didn't when you guys were around, and they're starting to with this tenure, but it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, what's happened with that, I mean, the reason the open mic can happen is because it's not too loud. It doesn't cause, when it happens, like during the
Volume
week.
is the only issue of preventing this.
That's literally it.
And like
Drawing
it literally it happens by itself. If you have the stuff like to allow people to perform mics and amps,
If you build it, they will come.
if you build it, they will come. So absolutely, that's perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so like we don't. The thing that the support from IRA or wherever could help us with is changing the policy. I mean, that's the only place it's needed, right? Because the one thing we need to do is find a way for shows not to get busted and have a venue like this where they can happen. So if shows could happen here and not get busted, like, you know, the support is there. I mean, work has to be done like you've been talking about, but I mean, like, you want to do it because, like, you know.
It's worth it. It's the interest is there. Like,
Yeah.
it's not an issue of like finding people to come out to the shows.
Right.
Like you said, if we could have shows, if you guys have shows
We found
without
so-
it getting busted, like it'd be packed. You know?
Yeah. I mean, we're packed anyway, having this like little open mic. Like people want to come here because they like the space and they like each other and they want to hang out and it's a good community of people. But
And we don't promote. There's so many.
No,
people
we're
that are
afraid
like,
to promote.
You want to put up posters?
Right.
You can
Do
put a
not,
poster
no.
up here. We're like, no.
and they're like, hey, I'm in the Music Business Association. You want me to tell like my people? We're like, no, don't tell your one coolest friend.
That's the way to get a great statement. It's like you can only tell one friend. It's your coolest friend.
That's it. It sucks that we can't host as many people as we want, and so. But that also shows the potential. Like there's a huge potential of people that want what we're supplying, and it just got to find other places to help out and share the load at least.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming to Macomb.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Glad to be back.
yeah. I'll be here any day of the week. It's
Really?
awesome.
Yeah.
Any day.
Any day.
As long as it's a Saturday or Sunday.
See you next Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm just gonna swing by.
Right.
right
What's the recording studios up? I expect to see more of you guys.
Yeah.
Sure, cunt.
Yeah.
We have one mic on Wednesday actually. So.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Connor's gonna sing over.
proof that you said.
Hey, thanks a lot. And
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, man. Thanks, guys.
Oh.